a good ball played into Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! Peter Ward! Villa in the lead!
Good afternoon, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa podcast. I am your John Williams. Please subscribe. Come into the road too, guys. Do what you can. At least channel. Like, and give follow all socials. After this, enjoy our special guest, Ray King, the Sweet Football expert, and the Monday show ringer, Aaron Thornton will be on show. This is the match preview. And we do the pre-match talk show. FC Basel versus Aston Villa. We focus our attention on the Europa League. We travel to Switzerland after beating the leaders on the last minute. Dramatic circumstance on Saturday was probably the best time of my life. And Uno Emery at the park is his best absolute chain. And who's could the title judge? Could it be on? And good to you today. With an incredible run. We're getting closer. I'll catch this. Good to you on the show, Joe. Are you, Craig? Stop you first.
Thanks. How are you?
Good. Hello, Aaron.
How you,
Great
mate?
to you. Oh, very good. Looking forward to this episode. And Craig, you will give us interesting insights into this episode. It's very intriguing. A little bit, what do you like? Swiss football. Before we get started, what's the reason?
Yeah, well, I probably get asked this question every podcast I do because, the Scottish accent. It's very unusual to have no prior connection to Switzerland and, suddenly be so kind of involved in it. But yeah, it was probably back in 2011 when I decided that I wanted to watch a random Champions League game. FC Basel were playing, and I decided to choose that game rather than any other big game that was on that night. And they were playing a team from Romania that don't exist anymore. And I watched that game. They won, and then they also played Manchester United in that campaign. They almost got a draw. They almost got a draw at Old Trafford, and they lost in the last minute.
Yes.
I believe. And then I decided to watch their games from then on. But I also noticed there wasn't really anywhere in English for Swiss football, so I decided to start a Twitter account, and from there, I just kind of got far too involved in Swiss football. I didn't expect to, get that involved in all the leagues, all the leagues, all the teams, the men's national team, women's national team. I know a lot more about it now than I ever thought I would, but it's opened a lot of doors for me in terms of being able to do things like this and offer insight on teams, and I've been able to go over there a couple of times and meet some people and have some friends there now. So.
Do you get always connection? Special connection?
Yeah, I've got a connection now with Basel, and I was able to actually work with the club for about 2 years doing their social media in English. which was again one of those moments where I thought, that's just totally strange,
Wow.
especially to my friends and family who couldn't really believe that the admin for a Swiss football team was someone they know that's Scottish. Yeah, so it was it's pretty cool to have been able to do things like that, and to say that I kind of in a small capacity worked for the club that kind of started the whole Swiss football journey. So yeah, it's quite a unique story, but I'm glad that I kind of fell into the Swiss football world.
Good morning, that's an idea. Obviously, you're Scottish, and you choose a Swiss name. It's very different from most people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think most people are just. I often get asked why, in a way that's like, not kind of insulting me, but like, why on earth would you choose Swiss football of all the random leagues and second teams that you could support? To choose Swiss football is definitely out there. And again, I would probably say it was a crazy decision back then, because the only way I could watch the games was if they were in Europe on UK TV, or I would have to find some stream that had like a very, very small square for a screen to watch the games on, where I could barely see the scoreline or what was happening in those early days. So yeah, it was definitely a bold decision, I would say, but again, I'm glad that I made that decision to follow Swiss football.
Oh, what is right? On the sides were the Jacob. If you are listening, thank you for no it lost, no it. Thank you for being great friends. Also, if you don't know, guys, me, Don and Jacob, we went to a pub quiz, and we come seventh, so still room for improvements. And to be honest, I drunk a lot of whiskey and coke last night. But it's definitely worth. Another thing to mention, it was an absolute honour to join Luke Robinson on the Aaron Thornton channel on his workouts on Villa. The first time I've done it, I'm definitely going to do it again. It was an absolute pleasure. For me, it was a very proud moment, which shows I've come a long way. And I just thought I'd take the moment to do it. Yeah, so we're talking about the Villa guys. So, Aaron, I want to talk about this guy. So, what was your thoughts on the Arsenal guy?
Mate, I mean, it was incredible. I think I've watched that goal, the second goal, on repeat, like all weekend. Like yesterday, every chance I had on my phone or I was on my iPad or whatever, I was just watching highlights or I was looking on X to see, more.
Should I or watch it on there?
Yeah. What did you say? Sorry.
I was watching it on match there.
Yeah.
The highlights again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have it over here. Match today. So were we actually on first for once?
No, we couldn't. We were on first.
Really?
No, it wasn't on first.
No, I don't know what we've got to do.
It was a Leeds game instead.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that was a good game, but I don't know. No, mate, it was. I think right now we're seeing. Well, I'm certainly seeing the best version of Aston Villa in my lifetime, and pre-Unai Emery was the Martin O'Neill era, which was, I thought that was the best sort of team I'd seen, but this just eclipses that, and Unai Emery is an absolute king. I don't know. I can't think of any more words to sort of say about him, but just everything about that performance, the mentality, the tactics, the substitutions, just epitomise what his memory's about. So, mate, I was just incredibly proud as well, and I'm really glad that other people and teams have seen that. Not that we are, title contenders, but just seen that we're a serious team now under Unai Emery, and that we've got a bit about us. So yeah, just incredibly proud of the team, mate. How was the game? How was the atmosphere?
It was unbelievable. Right to the end. I'm sorry, I reckon. It's probably one of the best eyes of my life. But one thing, it's up with PSG or Munich. Making sure limbs. Noisy really because we'll be with a better team. Don't thought we outplayed them. And even when Arsenal got the equaliser, our heads didn't drop. Oh, this victory is a huge statement. I really think the media need to give every Villa a lot of credit.
I couldn't agree more, mate. And like as the game was sort of, coming to the climax, I was thinking, okay, 1-1. That's it's not terrible. It's really not terrible
Well, that's good. So I could draw
on the balance of play. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we were draw, but we go even better than that.
Yeah, and those substitutions, mate. To take off, an example, taking off Matty Cash to bring on Buendia, it just sort of showed the mentality that Emery had. He wanted to win that game, and I have to apologise on here to my daughter, my 1.5-year-old, because I went absolutely berserk, and my wife had to hold my girl because I sort of frightened her because I just went absolutely crazy. I just could not believe it. I was jumping around, and it was So I imagine being there. And was it just loud? It sounded loud for the TV. So was it just like?
It felt like we won the title.
Wow. Wow. What an atmosphere to be a part of.
I've been saying this. It's building something very special. And also, mentally we got through it really well. And we're limited to chances. Play to Matty Cash. You always get I think this season is the most consistent player in the Villa team. We're the best player of the season so far. We'll get to someone up here.
Yeah, and I thought you said that on Luke's channel when you got interviewed after the game, and you highlighted Cash, and I think you make a really good point. We've always been advocates of him, but it just sort of shows the players that we've got that you can coach players, and I think Emery's an example of coaching players that are already there. You don't always have to buy. Obviously, a lot of teams would like to buy the best, and I get that, but it's just testament to the coaching staff and him to improve Matty Cash and players like McGinn and Watkins. When he first came in to where they are now is levels, and I think the mentality, mate, after the Brighton game, 2-0 down, you're away from home, to then follow that up with just the energy and the tenacity that they had. It was just, I don't know, I felt like I didn't know. I know I was watching Villa because we've seen it in spells, but it was just whoa, this team, they're hungry, man. They want this. And I think, like you say, Cash was great, and there was a few other names. I think the midfield, Kamara, Tielemans, Rodgers, to name a few, Pau Torres, they all had just really good. Everyone was on it, you know what I mean? Everyone was laser sharp focused and knew their roles, and
We can beat anybody. any day. It's becoming a normal. Being like Man City Arsenal. And the Villa Park is a real fortress. You're making it, Craig.
I think for me on the outside looking in, it looked amazing. You know, I think not to bring up my own team, but Scotland obviously had that moment a few weeks ago, with those scenes, and being in that stadium for that was insane.
Oh, well, you were
But
there?
that again, yeah, it was.
Wow. I watched
You know,
that.
I've watched. I've been going to see Scotland for so many years. You know, so many disappointments leaving that stadium. You know, with your big expectations and you fall short and you're so disappointed. But to finally have that moment, especially with family and things like that, it was a relief. But it was just the most crazy way to, you know, finally qualify. But that game at the weekend for you guys looked amazing. And I think you're right. You know, this Aston Villa team, I've seen it as well when they've played teams like Bayern Munich and PSG. They can go toe to toe with anybody. You know, you don't need to be Premier League winners to be going up against these big European teams and causing so many problems. I feel like there's just one or two things needed to really take them to the next level against these teams, but they really are, you know, building something special. I think Unai Emery, again, from the outside looking in, at the start of the season, it looked like the team wasn't as good as it had been, but then again they've just kicked on over the last few months, and it's exciting to see, because it's always nice to see a team kind of outside that top four kind of bubble to really break into it and make their mark. And it's also nice because John McGinn's such a big part of that team as well, so that's nice to see from my point of view.
Henry is always motivated. And asked, kind of a bit more motivated. And also performance for us. And bring Daniel Marvin up. But Marvin is always such an impact. Ranks himself a real nuisance in his place, his movements. And I think Daniel Marvin really becoming a fan's favourite. I mean, you enjoyed that performance since Daniel Marvin?
Yeah, I think you say Marlon, and I think if you look at the substitutions, Marlon, Sancho, and Lindelof, and obviously Buendia with the goal. If you that second goal, I'm pretty sure they all had a part to play. I think Lindelof initially headed the ball sort of back, and then obviously it got out to Marlon eventually, and then it went into Sancho from Rodgers, and then obviously Buendia with the finish. All of the subs had an impact and made that difference. But I think, I agree, mate. I think Marlon is fast becoming a fan favourite if he isn't already, because I think it's just his work rate on and off the ball, and he's just always ready, isn't he? He's always primed when he comes on. He just looks like he's gonna.
Yeah, bother. He's always looking forward.
Yeah.
Or ahead. Yeah. Well, also, Ian Mustin, although every sorting against Arsenal is a choice. What gives us what width going forward? He was getting constantly. I think he was better. He's going to more than Dino in the going over.
Yeah, Maatsen was one of the best games I've seen. He looks like he's becoming accustomed to how Emery wants him to play now, and Brighton as well. he looked good, and then obviously, were you surprised to see him start against Arsenal, or did you expect that?
I sort of expected it. Say it again.
Were you surprised to see Matson start, or did you expect it?
No, the reason why, because I also got the like Saka.
Mm,
You know, Martinelli.
yeah,
I don't think that sort of guy. Matters a lot quicker. Also, yeah, he's a little bit slower. He wants to get crosses in the box. But that's, that said, looks to hold the ball in the line.
yeah, yeah. I think he
To
kept
me,
Saka quiet, didn't he?
yeah, to, to me, I think his best performance of the season. I think this team is being showing togetherness. We don't put us forward Arsenal. We just beat the leaders. In the last minute. And
Yeah,
even the Arsenal players at the end, they couldn't either.
yeah. There's that image or video where they all just drop to the floor in sync. I mean, like you would be gutted, obviously, if you were them, but yeah, it did put a smile on my face. 'Cause, I mean, I feel like we've been on the end of that so many times over the years where we've conceded last-minute winners, and it's just like gut-wrenching. So to be on the other side of it and to experience that elation and just the joy of doing it, especially to Arsenal, because they're such a good team, and credit to them because they're flying as well.
Yeah.
So, mate, yeah, I thought the team selection was spot on. I thought the subs were just, great. And like you said, you made a point. I think Emery, it's a very personal game, isn't it? It feels, because I think of the Arsenal history. I doubt he would admit that, but there's definitely, we always seem fired up.
Yeah.
Not that we don't in games, but Arsenal particularly, we just seem like, no, we're coming for you today. So, it adds that bit of spice to the game.
It's one of those guys that I was there. One of the always there moments. Like in years to come. Fans will remember that. Really, so it's like thank you to Emery. Giving us these months. Going to be very gifts. I think Emery. That's what I think is important. We need to like the money. We need to get these stricter.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, your own pick. Handcuffed. Because otherwise, I think we're going to do it otherwise. I feel regret it.
It does feel like a now or never moment, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't want to be, I don't want to like put any negatives on the weekend or this team in general, but I struggle to see, if we're looking at post Emery, which I don't want to look at, but it's going to happen at some point. Like, how are we ever going to be the same? So yeah, I agree, mate. We've got to ride this wave, make the most of it, and really, really try and get that trophy, especially this season, because I think we had a bit of disarray in the summer with transfers and PSR and SCR and all that. That's going to come around again. So we need to really capitalise this season. Fingers crossed.
Okay. So what do you expect from Thursday? FC Basel.
This game is anytime Basel come up against an English team or Swiss teams in general come up against English teams, it's always quite a special night, atmosphere wise especially. But for Basel, I think this is the first big night in a long time where they can say this is a really big marquee match. They've had a lot of big moments in Europe in the past when they played Manchester United and Liverpool and all these teams, and they've got a really good record against English sides, but they had that dip for a good 5-6 years, and then they did some good things in the Europa League and especially the Conference League. But to come back into the Europa League after kind of been out of the fold in Europe. You know, it was young boys that were taking over as the Swiss team in European competition.
Yeah.
To come back into it now and come into this game against an English side, it's almost a free hit for them. They do need points in the group still, but there's games to come where, you know, that's more feasible for them. But this game is a chance to just go and have a special night and see what they can do. And they proved against Stuttgart that they can still have big moments at St Jakob Park. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a tough game. I don't really see how Basel in their current state can upset this Villa team, but you just never know, especially with that atmosphere. It's going to be red hot in the stadium, and it's going to be a really great night as well. So there's a chance for them, you know, if Villa can't cope with that atmosphere and players like Shaqiri are at their absolute best, then there's maybe a chance for them. But yeah, I'm not overly optimistic that they can, you know, do what they did back in, you know, 2012 or 2015 when they beat Manchester United and beat Liverpool and gave all these English teams a really hard time.
They're a tough Swiss team. One of the best Swiss teams.
Yeah,
It's a young boys.
Yeah, it's been, you know, it's funny because for such a long time, Basel were the team, you know, from like 2012 until 2017, they were just winning title after title. And people always wanted another team to kind of stop that dominance because it wasn't good for Swiss football to just have one team that was so good doing everything in the league in Europe. And then Young Boys won the title, and then Young Boys just won the league year after year after year. And it was the same kind of thing, but Young Boys didn't do anything in Europe like Basel did. You know, Young Boys have never really reached those heights. They've got to the Champions League a few times. They've had some special nights. They drew with Juventus. They beat Manchester United in the Champions League one year, but they've never really progressed far in Europe like Basel did. So Basel are kind of proud of that European heritage they've got. You know, they've managed to really fly the flag for Swiss football in Europe over the last couple of decades, and now to be back in after all those years out is something special for them. But as well, even when Basel were struggling in the league, there was a season where they had to qualify for the Conference League on the last day of the season. They had to win. In that same season, they reached the Europa Conference final against Fiorentina, semi-final, sorry, and they get put out by a 129th minute goal in extra time, denied them a place in the final. So even when they've been struggling domestically, they've still managed to, you know, do some things in Europe. So there's just something special between the club and European football that always seems to click.
Also, Craig, they've got to be passionate supporters. They get right by there. They expect to be a formidable atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they've got that section behind the goal, the mix and curve. I've totally butchered the actual pronunciation, but yeah, they've got that section behind the goal, and it's always full, always bouncing, flares and all that sort of thing. I would hope they would behave a little better than what Young Boys did the other week there. Yeah, that was just on that point. That was disappointing to see, because Young Boys came to play Celtic in January in Glasgow, and there was a video at the time after the game where, you know, Celtic won that game 1-0, and after the game there was a young Celtic fan who happened to be beside the Ultras section, the Young Boys section, and the fans were like exchanging scarves, and like he was dancing with them, all that sort of thing, and it was a really special moment. And then you had that the other week there where it was just a totally different side where they kind of disgraced themselves. So that was disappointing to see. Swiss fans generally are just they're underrated. You know, they always bring the passion, but they're not normally. I would say that they don't normally act like that in terms of throwing things, hitting players.
Swiss fans, always fun. You don't usually say much trouble.
Yeah, I think it was disappointing, especially the scenes with the police and things, and it's hard to kind of put a reason on it. You know, I don't obviously know what's happened, but there's no real excuse for, you know, throwing things at a player, hitting a player, or
in football. There's no place.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Chet, can I just jump in very quickly? Just on that, Craig, I was going to ask you about that. Like, what was the perception from a Swiss media point of view? Were they, or like Federation or like their FA, like were they sort of disappointed with that? I mean, I know naturally they would be, but like, was there much sort of uproar from the media side, or was it not reported that heavily?
Honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot about it since. It was reported on, but it was just kind of, this is what happened. There was fighting,
Yeah.
throwing objects and things. A lot of people from like a fan perspective assumed that there must have been more to the story, like something happened to provoke that sort of incident, like the fighting with the police. But again, the way I see it, and I don't know what happened beforehand, but I don't really know what incident could happen that would justify fighting with the police, unless the police went in and started, attacking
Yeah.
fans, which I don't believe really is
No.
something that would happen. So yeah, it's difficult to kind of put a finger on why, but again, it's just
Yeah.
it's disappointing to see.
Think right, do you think
Thank you.
the fans will be safe to this guy? But the fans and safety. Do you think it'd be okay?
Yeah, I
In this
would
game.
say so.
Yeah.
The one thing, I've been to Switzerland twice, and the thing that struck me both times was the police that they have there. Like the riot police are some of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life. So I feel pretty safe. If I would imagine the policing operation is watertight. These sorts of games are always
Oh, yeah.
heavily policed, and I think I don't imagine there should be any trouble. But again, after what happened the other week, I'm just not sure anymore. But Basel's a wonderful city.
Thanks for that. Everyone behaves.
Yeah.
Also, go back to the football. For Villa point of view, we were the first, very confident, going to this guy. Anyway, like a few changes. You'll definitely rotate the squad. Or as well. And Henry so far, he always seems to manage Thursday, Sunday. But really well.
Do you want me?
Yeah. That's all as well.
Yeah, no, I think, look, yeah, first and foremost, I think, FC Basel. I don't think they're going to be any pushovers. I think
It wouldn't be easy. I don't think it'd be easy.
Since I've been watching European football, like, as a young kid, they were always a staple. They were always around. They were always there. I remember the nights that Craig was talking about where they beat Liverpool and Man United. So their European history is really good, and it always provides a different challenge. I think we've had a lot of games in a short amount of time. I think mentally could be quite draining. So I'm interested to see how we sort of tackle that. And like you just mentioned, Chad, I think there will be a bit of squad rotation. But I just think that I think we've got to just take after go ahead Eagles. I told you last time I'm sort of scarred from that. So like we've got to be careful.
Henry knows that.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, like he's very good with the Thursday, Sunday sort of games. And I do think that he'll have. I think it's important for our momentum. Where we are now, we want to keep. I think it's quite good that the games sort of come soon after. We're not waiting a week for the next game because we can keep with that momentum. But it's going to be a different sort of challenge, and with the atmosphere, in the stadium, I think it should be a good game of football. In all honesty, they seem to play decent football. They won at the weekend, so
But today, Henry can execute the effective game plan which works. The only thing in this game, the dogs in Yamada, dogs in Kassan will feature in this game. That sort of game away from home. You know, on your others, feeling a bit of a straw like that. When you're away from home, that's all I think of. It can be important.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm Bogard. Well, can't you see Bogard play right again? Which we will come to in a bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it longer. Say what tactics he uses. See Bogard. Well, he's been in the visa. Just for the Europa League.
Yeah, he's a man of many positions, isn't he, Bogard? But he's
Very
looked,
versatile.
yeah, very versatile. I think right back. Yeah, I don't without right back. I mean, I know we'll talk about it shortly, but the right back situation. I know Garcia is back in training. He's on the bench the last couple of games, so will he feature? I don't know. Will they just throw him in? Maybe not. So I thought Bogard might go in the middle just to sort of rest up Onana, Tielemans, maybe Kamara. I expect McGinn to maybe start.
There we go. This on the screen. So, this
Oh,
is
nice.
what I've chose. So here's what I'm going with there. So I'm going to multi-goal. I'm going to go Bogard right back. Because I remember the last game against young boys he played there. And then off comes in the centre back.
Yeah.
I don't think to get multi-cash. I think I can rest. Multi-cash plays a lot of minutes.
Yeah, agreed.
Nothing of the Ian Butt again.
Yeah.
Go away from home. I think we need to have that width, which is going to be important.
Yeah, nice.
And Bilko Kamara, I don't think Yuri Tielemans. Yuri Tielemans, what he's good at. He's very good right through the lines. And
Yeah.
pulling that killer pass, which we need.
Very true.
Then we got guess that sounds great. They getting better every time to watch it. But we guess that we need to be a bit patient with it. I do think it's time. But the guys watched him in. I'm saying extraordinary to do. Not affecting us on the guy with his low crosses. He's been a little direct, I think, now.
Yeah. He'll come good. I think, like, you've got to give players a chance. Like, not every player can hit the ground running, and Gesson is one of those sort of players. I think Emery's system and his tactics and formations are very demanding, and I think it's tough for a player who A has not been in the league before and B hasn't worked under Emery before to adapt. Yeah. So I think I agree with you. I think just got to give him. I know there's a lot of fans on his back and don't understand what he does, and I get that, but at the same time, I think it's important to give him a chance. And look, the amount of players that have come into Emery's system and have like blossomed over a couple of seasons. Ideally, it doesn't take that long, but that's just the nature of it sometimes. So yeah, I agree with you there, mate.
I'm going to join Sanchez.
Yeah.
Because he played really well. But the Arsenal guy, he was a real impact.
Yeah.
Sunday. Got some decent areas. He's sort of very skillful. He isn't afraid to take the fullback. So that's why I've gone Sanchez.
Yeah, I agree.
He's impressive me, I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, they go with Donovan. I think what play the Premier League over. I'm thinking this guy, done your more than sit. I think you can actually be really threatening going forward.
Yeah. I think as
What
well.
do you
Like,
make?
sorry, go on, Chad.
Ian Craig, what do you make of that team?
Well, I look at the team and I think there's so many players there that scare me a little bit. And then I look at Basel's team and, you know, there's Shaqiri and a few others that are in decent form. And yeah, the comparison's a bit scary for me at the minute. But there's so many quality players in that team that can hurt Basel, which is the main thing that I take away from it. Yeah, to me, that team looks well balanced. You know, Aston Villa generally look a well balanced team now, which I think we're seeing and the sorts of results that they're getting. And yeah, it does look quite intimidating when it's laid out like that for me. My optimism's went down a little bit more.
I'll get your team up there.
Oh dear. Okay.
So, what do you think?
I was just on like heavy rotation because I think at the minute, well, yeah, my main thing was that like the core players have played a lot of minutes. So
Yeah.
I was like, I think with the Premier League, I know that's Emery sort of, he wants to focus on that. And that's no disrespect to Basel. I just think, you know, we've had a lot of games in the last sort of week or two. I thought Bizarre against Brighton was, you know, he had shaky moments, but overall he was, you know, he made that save at the end. And
he was a hero.
Yeah, and he's not played for a while. I just think, you know, Martinez had a bit of a back issue, didn't he? Is that fully healed after Arsenal? Will he rotate? I don't know. So that's why I sort of threw him in there. Mm-hmm. Again, the right back situation with Garcia, I don't know if he's. I know he's been on the bench, so I assume he's available. I agree with you, Chad.
Yep.
Matty Cash, like a lot of them, have played a lot of.
He needs a rest.
A lot of minutes, exactly. So yeah, he's out. What I tried to do was put at least one core player in, like each sort of, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Like Konza is in. Just because Konza is a bit like McGinn, they can just play, can't they? Like, although they rack up minutes,
yeah,
they seem to always come through unscathed and fairly fit guys. So I thought Konza partnered with Lindelof because I think Pau Torres, I'm pretty sure I saw him with like ice around his calf at the end of the game against Arsenal. I don't think it was serious, but just I thought maybe, you know, because if Pau Torres gets injured, they're sort of screwed.
You think of precaution?
Yeah. Maatsen, same as you, Chad. I think Maatsen, you know, he's not played loads this season. He's played a fair amount, but like he's young. I feel like he can handle 3 games. Even if Luca Dean comes on at some point. And then the midfield, I've got McGinn in there. I feel like I think McGinn can just play, like he could play every day of the week. You know, he's a machine, isn't he? So I thought him in there with Bogard maybe. To give the other sort of 3 a bit of rest, like Kamara, Tielemans, and Arno, just, you know, because they put in a shift. Not that McGinn didn't, but, you know, as our captain, and I love him. And then same with you with the Gesson. I think it's a good chance for him to sort of, you know, grow again into Unai's system. Sancho, I like Sancho a lot. You can see he's slowly building. I would love him. I just want him to get a goal. You know, I'd love him sort of have that moment. So I think he's a no-brainer really. And then again, Watkins, we know we're managing his minutes at the minute with his knee injury, so obviously Marlon at the top. And then I went for Emi Buendia in behind just because Harvey Elliott's not going to play, as we know. And then he only came on in the last sort of, you know, the last like 5 minutes, didn't he? 10 minutes against Arsenal. Will Emery do that? No, I've never got a team right. It's more like what I would like, just because of managing the minutes and the load. But you know, I trust Emery whatever he does now. So
about Sancho, he always worked hard. You know, who knows? It's going to be another time for Marcus Rashford. Sort of the Sancho is always very lively.
Yeah, and I think that's a staple of Emery's team, isn't it? You've got to work hard, and I think, you know, there's no passengers. I do think if it is, you know, I do think the wingers are going to have to be busy defensively as well in this game. So Gesson and Sancho, if it is them, they're going to need to track and defend as sort of just help out a bit. So and I think Gesson can do that. Sancho, I know it's more of a fitness thing with him, so I'll be intrigued to see how he adapts. But we'll see. We'll see what he goes with. But your team, this team, I'm sure it'll be.
I'd say back. Interesting. But I might say Basel. Anything
Yeah,
to
so
that?
I think there's the one that springs to mind is, and I'm not sure if I've got it 100% right, but when FC Basel were founded, they had those red and blue kits, and apparently that inspired Barcelona's kits. And there's a connection between the owner of Barcelona as well and Basel. So I think a lot of people would assume that it was the other way around. That Basel would be inspired by Barcelona and steal their kits. But I think that's the story anyway. But and just on Basel itself, it's kind of such a kind of storied history. It's such a strange history as well, in the sense that they were struggling so much in the 90s, in the second division, and then they came back up, had such a run in Europe and winning, I think it was 8 titles in a row, and they won their 20th title, which is why they've got 2 stars on their badge now, and then they never won anything for such a long time, But it's a club that really has, a deep connection. It's a one city club. You see it when in the city itself, it's Basel everywhere. The trams are decorated in Basel colours at times. There's just flags hanging. It's the whole city's all in, and players come through at the club and from the youth system. You've had guys like Jan Sommer and Shaqiri, Fabian Schär, Granit Xhaka and his brother, Talent Xhaka. He played for so many years. He retired last year. He played pretty much all his career at Basel. And these players, they keep that connection with the club. Shaqiri's came back last season, had a wonderful season. I think it went much better than people expected.
Liverpool?
And when he left, he was playing in America, and when he left America, there was some talk that he would come back to Basel, but it was not realistic because of wages and this sort of thing. But he ended up, he took a wage cut. He wanted to come back, and the fanfare for his return was incredible, and he paid the fans back for that support massively. He had 18 goals and 21 assists. Broke the assist record.
Wow!
He broke the assist record in the league last season, and genuinely, if not for him, then Basel wouldn't have won the league title, because he just dragged that team back up. So an incredible story to come back after all those years. He left in 2012, I think, to go to Bayern Munich. And to come back after all that time and end FC Basel's drought for the league title it's just an amazing story. And Granit Xhaka, he said last season at the farewell of his brother, in his brother's last game, he announced to the crowd pretty much that he would be back at some point to play as well. Hopefully he comes back a bit early like Shaqiri did, because he's still a fantastic player to take him back right now.
Really skillful.
And
creative.
Fantastic player. So there's so many connections with the club and ex-players, and it's just, I think it's a really great club in that, like I say, it's that one city club and everyone's all in. In some ways, especially it was noticeable during Basel's few years where they were really, really struggling. Fans want to kind of see an identity on the pitch where the team connects with the fans. It's not always so much about results. There was a period of time where the management of the club and the fans weren't aligned. The management was kind of alienating players like Valentin Stoker, for example, who club legend, and he was basically exiled from the squad, and the fans reacted badly to that as well. There needs to be a perfect relationship between everything, and when it is, it's a fantastic club and atmosphere to be around.
And also, other interesting facts. Roger Federer supports FC Basel.
Yeah, he's he's sometimes at the games, but my claim to fame is that I tweeted him once before a Champions League game to ask if he was
Yeah.
going to watch it, and he replied to me. So that's
Nice.
Oh,
my claim
wow.
to fame. Yeah, and he does attend games every now and again. He's a big fan of the club, and often he's in the dressing room with the players. You know, he's not just someone that turns up and you
Involved.
know,
Oh,
Was
wow.
involved.
yeah, he doesn't just turn up and attend the games in the box, you know, and leave. You
Oh,
know,
I didn't
he's
know
been in the
that.
dressing room with the players. So I think there is a relationship there between him and some of the more tenured players at the club, like Shaqiri and other guys like that who've been at the club. He has that relationship with them, so that's nice as well. But again, Basel's such a kind of small city and almost like a community city, almost like everybody. There's that togetherness, and if you're from Basel, then that's a really important thing to the people of that city. So yeah, he does get involved, and it's nice. You know, it's always nice to have a famous fan like him, probably the greatest tennis player in the world.
Yeah. Like, wow.
So, Craig, what's your thoughts on Nudovic Magnin, the manager?
Yeah.
What do you
You know,
make?
Basel had Fabio Celestini last season when he won the title, and he was a manager that had been at a few teams in the league, and he did a good job to bring Basel back up. But again, there was a real over reliance on Shaqiri. He over delivered, and those numbers were never going to be replicated this season. It just was kind of a freak season in that regard. And also, I felt like the league last season was quite weak, and Basel capitalised on that. There was a lot of inconsistency across the board. Young boys really fell away, and so Basel capitalised on that, and they won the title. But they then made that decision to bring in Ludwig Mannion, who again had been at a few clubs in Switzerland, and he'd done some good work, you know, at these clubs, Zurich and teams like that, but he kind of always struck me as a mid-table manager, you know, not someone that's going to go and win you titles, and I wasn't really keen on his appointment, to be quite honest, but willing to give him a chance. And so far, he's been unfortunate in some regards. You know, the team create a lot of chances, but they just don't finish their chances more often than not. You know, they have had so many games this season that they've drawn or even lost because they've just not been able to finish. And even the game at the weekend away to Winterthur, that was a game that they really had to win because that's a bottom of the table side.
Yeah.
And they did win it in the last.
At the moment in the Swiss league.
Yeah, so
Third in the
again,
league.
yeah, that was a massive win in that regard because they're, I think, 4 points behind, but the consistency just hasn't been there. And I do feel for the manager in that his team are not playing badly, they're just not finishing their chances, but at some point it has to click because they're not going to win the title again if they just keep going along like this. So yeah, the jury's still out on him. He's had 2 wins now, one in the cup, which was a given against, I think it was 5th-tier side, and then that game at the weekend again was a must-win against bottom of the league, and they did win it, but it was a last-minute goal to win it. So there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
I would get the Europa League's kind of a free hit for him. It's been a kind of difficult draw for Basel. They played teams like Lyon, Aston Villa coming up, Stuttgart, where they got a great win at home.
What are
against.
they?
I'm pretty sure. I think they're in the playoff positions, but they need at least one more win. I think maybe 4 points to get, because they beat Stuttgart and they got another win elsewhere, I think. But yeah, they definitely need another win, but they've got more favourable games coming up. You know, this game is a free hit for them in that regard. If they get anything, then fantastic. But if
24.
they lose this, then it's really the next games that they need to try and get
What players need to watch out for? Do anyone need to watch out for?
Yeah, the obvious one is Shaqiri. You know, he's probably the one that people will recognise. Maybe Marvin Hitz as well in goals. He used to play for Dortmund, but there's not a lot of recognisable faces to the casual fan in this team. But Shaqiri is that. You know,
Shaqiri,
yeah, he's a quality player. He still has moments of magic, but again, he's not hitting the heights of last season, which is to be expected. You know, that was
is he
crazy.
Consistent?
Oh yeah, he's just to me, it feels like, and it happens sometimes with Switzerland as well. There seems to be times in games where, you just need to hope for a bit of Shaqiri magic because it's not working for the team, and often he does pull that out. But yeah, there is still that over reliance on him. But he is the one to watch for me. Anything good that Basel do will come from him if he's on his game. He scored at the weekend there as well, so he's in decent form. Apart from that, you've got Otelli, who plays up front. He was on the wing. He is a good player as well, quite fast. He's got a decent goal record this season. Benny Traore up front. He was at Sheffield United before Basel, and he's had a decent season as well. But again, the goal scoring's not been there. So these players are kind of chipping in here and there, but they're not, consistent. Shaqiri isn't as consistent as he was, but he's still, scoring goals, so he's still having a good season. And then Marvin Hitz is someone that can come up with big moments in games, but he's made quite a few high-profile errors this season, so he worries me a little bit as well. But yeah, I think Basel's biggest problem across the team has been that consistency.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a few questions. So, places to visit. So, for the Aston Villa fans, what can I do in Basel? What places do you recommend them to visit?
Yeah, so again, I'm probably not going to remember the names of a lot of these places, but yeah, there is a picture of, there's a big church in the city as well. It's pretty nice. You can go in there. It's free entry. Really, really nice. Again, the name escapes me. Yeah, and there's Mr. Pickwick's pub, is a decent pub to visit as well. That's
is there a cable? A cable there, right? Across the road, I think. The river road, that's it, yeah.
I don't remember seeing it. I've been to Basel twice, and my mind is going blank for that. But I don't think I don't remember a cable. Because there's like two big bridges across the Rhine. But I don't remember. Any cable cars. But generally, the city's a lovely city. It's quite small, but there's a lot of nice views, especially across those bridges, and there's again, like I said, a lot of kind of Basel memorabilia around. It's a very arty city. There's the Art Basel Festival that takes place. Yeah, it's a beautiful. Yeah, it's a really beautiful city. So I think that
there is a big zoo there. Google something about.
I never went to the zoo. Although Bern has this is totally off topic, but Bern has a bear pit in the middle of the city where it's just a big.
Oh, never knew that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's like a well, and then there's just bears below, like just in the middle of there's the street with the cars driving past, and there's just this, well with bears in it. But anyway, that's
great. That's wild. That.
Yeah, I was terrified that I was going to either fall in or drop my phone in, or yeah. But no, that was pretty cool. But Basel's a great city, very arty city, and there's a lot of just nice, like you say, architecture and things like that to see. So I think any Villa fans there will have a nice time and enjoy the city, and even more so if they win. I just don't think they'll enjoy the price.
And the trouble. The trouble either. There's no trouble.
No, I think it should be okay. I think the high profile fixtures are well placed, and they're not going to. I would be surprised if there's a lot of trouble there. I think hopefully everyone will be well behaved, and we'll not see any repeat of the scenes from a few weeks ago.
I'm going to come to one more question. So, all the other in a tortoise.
That to me?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a crazy question, isn't it? It's crazy. It's a good question, but it's a crazy notion to think of. I mean, as it stands, with 3 points off Arsenal, so I guess right now, Yeah, I agree. Yes, Michael in the comments. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out. Seen your comments, mate. Yeah. We are Chad. There you go. I'm saying it. Yes.
That's saying what is this today? I'm not saying we're gonna win it. I think we are in the total race. I think we've got a good chance getting the top three. The big thing is need to keep these players. Need to keep this
Yeah.
in
Injuries.
order to
Yeah. No, sorry, Chad. Yeah, no, injuries is a big thing. Like if we can keep the squad fresh, fit, and I do think we need another centre back in January. I honestly,
Yeah.
with Mings out, and if Torres gets injured, I do think that's going to be an issue. So like, not that I'm wishing that at all, but I do think we need a bit more depth in that
Yeah.
department.
That's
But
what it got. I like Arsenal, Man City. They can put out two and second teams. That's where we're probably looking. The thing is there was a thought. Yeah, you're allowed to dream as a fan, that.
yeah, man, like, are we going to be in this position again? Who knows? So let's just enjoy it and
Enjoy the ride.
I agree, mate.
Yeah, you know what I think, Aaron? But we keep it going. But in the new year, we're still winning. Maybe then we could about it more then.
Yeah.
Got a festive period.
It's going to be a tough, West Ham away, and then I think what is it, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal again. Like these are big. Every game is big, but this is a tricky part of the fixture list. And I think what we've done is we've given ourselves a really good chance to be in amongst it by winning our last, like 9 games is incredible. And
Yeah,
we can just keep getting some points through this festive season. Come January, if we need to, I don't know how much we can with the money restraints and stuff, but if we can sort of get a couple bodies in just to help, then who knows, mate? Like we really could, with Unai at the minute, like anything's possible. I genuinely believe that. Like the guy is an absolute magician. So,
and if we get Champions League again, I'll be happy.
100%. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Craig. Giving us a real good insight.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, it's great. You really gave me some good little insight into Swiss football.
Yeah, you're really good.
I've learned a lot more. Things that I never knew even as well. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to subscribe. Make sure to smash the likes. Give it a shout on all your social. Believe it's a good review. If you're not listening to audio, on audio platforms, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much, mate, for your time.
Thanks again for having me.
It's a problem. I'm going to wrap up this episode. We've been forever as always. And up the develop.